everyone. I'd like to take a minute and thank you all. I finally hit 500 followers on Twitter. You guys are fucking awesome. I really appreciate all the support you've been giving me. I'm trying to give back to the community, you know. You guys are fucking sweet. Metal Detecting by Hendelman. Have you ever walked on the beach at night when there's no moon, stars, or just anything? When the tide is out and the sand is smooth and cold like glass. The sand and the water seem to mix together into one expanse out in the dark. I've been out there. On those nights that only happens when you're alone. I'd been metal detecting for a while. I live by the coast, and the beach every other block made a hobby appealing. It started with 30 minutes or an hour on the weekends, but after I broke up with my girlfriend of 5 months, it became 2 or 3 hours. After I finished college, I spent a little time on the weekdays too, occasionally. It became a cleansing habit instead of just a hobby. A way to clear my thoughts. Just wandering beaches, collecting aluminum caps or bottle caps. It was relaxing for me, at least. I'd gotten a few days off work as the 7-Eleven I worked at had water damage. There was too much mold to safely work, so I decided to go camping on a beach. My friend had loaned me a tent and a sleeping bag. That one time we went camping a long time ago, and after the trip, he was nice enough to let me keep them. I wanted to put his gift to good use, as I hadn't been camping since then. I packed up my plastic kid shovel and cheap metal detector into my dinky old Toyota Corolla and drove off to one of my favorite beaches. It was still the normal week for everyone else, so I was alone for most of the time. My only company was the seagulls and the ice plants, and the occasional dog walker. I only planned to stay for a day anyways, just to get away. To walk the long beach until everything made more sense. So that's exactly what I did, until around noon, digging up random things as I went. I found mostly just trash, but some nice things. A few quarters, a dollar coin, one earring, and... well, that's when I found it. A small metal finger. It was normal finger size, dull silver color, and ended at where a finger would connect to the knuckle. It was so strange, of course. There was nothing around the finger either, no pieces of jewelry or trash. And while it was strange, it wasn't unexplainable or impossible. It might have just been an odd good luck charm or some weird piece of trash, so I decided to take it back to my tent. Maybe some voodoo collector on eBay would want it. Nothing else really interesting happened after that. At least, nothing interested compared to that. So, it was the end of the day, and I was in my sleeping bag, getting ready for bed, turned off my cheap LED lantern, crawled into bed and go to sleep. And then I was back on the beach. It was that kind of night. The one with nothing in the sky, but everything still had that pale shining on it, like the moon was out. I didn't have my shovel or detector and couldn't see my tent. It was just me. Literally nothing else but the water and the sand. But I didn't feel alone. I spun around and looked up and down the beach. Nothing. So much nothing that it felt wrong. And I don't know why I did what I did, but I just knew I had to. I walked and walked until I got to this spot. I knew this was the spot I was looking for, even though I didn't know I was looking for anything. And I got down on my hands and knees and began to dig, like a dog, with my hands sifting through damp, cold sand as I dug. I began to feel dread, and when the hole was maybe 6 inches deep, I was in a cold sweat, and then my numb fingers hit a silvery metal object, but I had to keep digging, and as I dug more and more, I realized what it was. It was a statue, made of the same odd silver material, and it was the exact same style, too. Looking at that awful thing's face, for example, I could see smooth divots in the face where eyes should be, and a small protrusion that was supposed to be a nose and no mouth. Detailed enough to realize what it was, and nothing more. It was in sort of a lying down pose, looking up at the empty sky. It was also missing all its fingers, and its legs ended at the knees. As I completely unearthed the statue, and my fingers started to bleed, that's when I woke up. My bed was soaking wet from sweat, and when I turned on the lantern, the finger was gone. I don't go metal detecting anymore.